Happy February, guys. Happy Valentine's Day as it's coming up. Happy Love Day. What else? That's pretty much it for February. When I was preparing all of this, I was picking up on signs. I leave myself little notes to figure out what is it that I want myself to remember as I'm doing my research. And so, our new moon, as you saw, starts February 9th. It's in Aquarius. It will be ruled by Jupiter and Saturn. It's on a Friday. So, Venus will also be on the premises on this new moon. Aquarius rules our third eye, so therefore, one thing I wrote down was detach entities, meaning that there could be entities attached to your third eye realm, to your subconscious or your shadow realms. You need to detach from them. Our energy for that day is masculine. I have no retrogrades. I'm making sure here. Yeah, there's no retrogrades for the month of February. So the month of February is kind of like a breather, like, whew, let your hair down, take a breather, relax just a smidge. Coming off of that January reading, which was heavy and tormenting in more ways than one. This one here, even though Saturn is a part of this reading, this is something I always say. When we have harsh, disciplining fathers, we always take them as the bad guy. Dad is so mean, right? And in both of these situations, February and January, Saturn rules, if that makes sense. Saturn ruled with the Capricorn new moon. Saturn is ruling with the Aquarius new moon alongside Jupiter. So this kind of confirmed that whole, if you learned your lesson, you're going to be rewarded. Now, in the January one, the difference between that one and this one is the fact that this reading is Aquarius. Aquarius is air, it's masculine energy, whereas the previous reading was feminine. And we all know feminine energy is not the easiest energy to correspond with. Like, even when you're being kind, it's always read as if you're being cruel. And with masculine energy, it is what it is. You know where you stand when you're dealing with masculine energy. And so with the Friday falling, though, the Friday is a feminine day. Friday is always feminine day. It's a Venus ruled day. It's a love ruled day. For example, our colors are pink, green, aqua, and lavender, which are soft pink colors. This could be the new moon where you integrate masculine energy back to female energy and create this personal relationship within yourself that's not just strong, positive, but is ongoing. One thing I'm feeling here is the fact that on an individual level, we need to learn how to have relationships with ourselves. A lot of the times we're so busy running after someone else, chasing after someone else, that we forget what it's like to be alone and to be within your own energy. Possibly use this February new moon on this beautiful Friday to actually reintegrate with yourself, Something that came up to my mind is like, make love to yourself. And I don't mean if you're into it, do it. But what I mean by make love to yourself is like, really make love to yourself. Cook for yourself. Pour a glass of wine with you in mind. You understand? Just draw a bath with some flowers with you in mind. Like, take care of yourself. Don't be so caught up and wound up in what other people think are doing or possibly planning on doing towards you, but just focus on self. Because if you have your masculine and your feminine energy in agreement with one another, individuals will come and try to tear your life to shreds and won't be able to, only because your two parts know how to protect its vessel. In other words, when your two parts know how to protect its vessels, then your spirit and your soul align, and it connects and it protects itself. So now keep in mind, we are dealing with the third eye. The third eye, if you are not balanced, if you're living in the realm of fantasy and illusions, then you'll possibly start to create nonsense within your head that makes no sense. But what you need to focus on is your third eye. Like, focus on you. What do you want out of life? What do you like about yourself? What do you don't like about yourself? What do you want to change about yourself? And then go from there. This is it's a light. Like, this is a light reading. It's not heavy. It's not weighing me down. I don't feel exhausted. I feel light. I feel like balance could take place. You understand? Like, balance could take place. We're gonna go into the stone, because I did choose a stone for the balancing of the third eye. So we're going to go into that stone. So our stone is the Larimar. It's a stone of detaching from entities. What is meant by that? So we always go back to our childhood, right? When you're doing spiritual work, you have to go back to your childhood, because that's where you got corrupted. If you're a computer, that's where you got corrupted. And if you're doing spiritual work, it's to clean up that corruption, the viruses, the attachments, the negative energies, all that stuff got attached to you as a child. And like I've said in previous videos, those attachments came from the exterior world. You were not born with these attachments. You were not created from these attachments. They just came from the external world. Whatever you were born to do, there's decisions that your parents made while you were a child that contradicted your life path, and therefore you got corrupted. Now the third eye is that space where corruption takes place. Now when you need to detach from entities, what that means is that, unfortunately, as you were sitting in the church as a little child, entities were attaching to you. As you were bored at school daydreaming, entities were attaching to you. If all of that makes sense, then you understand what that means. Aquarius literally rules over our third eye. Aquarius and Jupiter rules over our third eye, and with Aquarius, our third eye is discipline and focus, because Saturn is also there, if that makes sense. So with all that being said, is when you're going to do your meditations with this stone, if you own this stone, if you don't own the stone and you want to do the virtual thing, you can do that as well. What you would end up doing is pretty much taking the visual of the stone, laying or sitting or standing somewhere, and then what you'll do is imagine the stone is on your third eye, and then you're going to either play humming meditative music, or you're going to sit silent. Now if you choose a silent route, keep in mind the silent route requires you being very aware of the noises in your head, and it might take a little while to quiet all that noise down. So if you choose the silent route, don't get upset, don't get frustrated, don't get mad at yourself because you're not able to quiet your mind down. What you need to do is just sit, let your mind flow, and then it will eventually quiet itself down, and then you'll be able to see. I'll give you a little secret about going into the third eye. The first moment you go into the third eye, you go into the collective third eye. You know, just how you look outside and you see the world outside, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the collective third eye. And that place is messy. Sometimes that place is so messy, it's just like, ugh, wow. That's why the world is so messed up, because look what's going on in the ethers, right? Now, what you'll need to do is hone into your own self, and you'll find yourself within that third eye world dimension. And depending on who you are, this is when the shadow work kicks in. When the shadow work kicks in, you go into the third eye space, you see the third eye world. Most people get excited or they get saddened, whatever happens. And then you go into yourself. You see yourself in the third eye world, and you go there. And a lot of people are doing stuff that, you know, they would naturally not do in the public's eye, you know? So if you find yourself to be one of those people, put the stone, visualize the stone on your third eye and meditate, because you could have a whole bunch of entities that are connected to you. You could have a whole bunch of entities that are feeding off of you, which is another story for another time. Most of the time when things are going so bad in our lives, is because when you fall asleep, you take that conscious contract, right? And the conscious contract should be called a third eye contract, because it's not really a conscious contract. It's just like when people say, I sold my soul to the devil. You know you didn't, because your soul wasn't for sale. You understand? You made a contract with an entity. Now, the situation with that contract is you guys should have drew some asterisks. You should have drew some boundaries. You should have drew something to prevent quote unquote an overlord in your personal space, right? So a lot of entities, what they do is they abuse. There's some ways that you're being abused that you don't even know that you're being abused. Your life is just like crumbling and falling apart around you. And that's because the entities that's been feeding off of you for so long, they're like, damn, if you get your shit together, my food supply is gone. So therefore, they start creating nonsense in your life to make sure that you're always in a specific frequency. Now, the thing that's powerful about not just the third eye and shadow world, but your soul and your spirit, when your soul and your spirit has said enough, I don't care how much fun they were having. Enough is enough. Do you understand? We've reached that point where as you're traveling through your chakra system, you're traveling through the zodiac, you're traveling through the houses, you're starting to get to know everything for what it is, the rulers, the shapes, the energies, and then you get to know yourself. And you're like, damn, I had enough. But yet shit's still going on. That's because those entities are still holding on. They're still bothering you. And that's because they think you're still their food supply. The thing about having enough is that once you have enough, you produce a different frequency. And a lot of these entities, they don't thrive too well off of love. So once you've had enough, you start producing love. And when you produce love, it becomes like a poison for them. And now they're dying. And now your life is slowly starting to pick itself back up. Because when you were a child, and they were feeding off the energy of fear, the boogeyman in your closet, the boogeyman under your bed, the scary movies that children are not supposed to watch. You then invited those frequencies into your world where it's fear, scare. And now as you're becoming an adult, you're realizing, crap, I'm not afraid of the boogeyman. I hardly fear anything, really. Why am I still food for these things? Oh, okay, it's me. I'm on an autopilot level. I'm just reconciling memories and reconciling energies. Pause. Now, once you pause and you start reflecting and redirecting and you have to go through the anger process to clear up your third eye. You have to get mad. If you don't get mad, you're just gonna bother yourself. You have to get mad. If you don't get mad, you're just gonna like set yourself up for failure. You understand? So you get mad and then you calm down and then you start pinning out, who are my victimizers? Who victimized me? You realize who victimized you? You don't ever go into the physical realm and either ask for forgiveness or request forgiveness. You go into yourself, because that's where the damage is being done. You go into yourself, and when you go into yourself, you witness. Just watch. Get to know the person by watching their moves, and every day you'll see who's been doing all this stuff to me. It's you. I'm gonna forgive you on this level, and I'm gonna watch you on that level. And you'll see, once you see that, you get to see the big picture of your life, and you're like, oh my God, my entire life got wasted because I was food for a victimizer. And that victimizer introduced entities that were feeding off of my energy that caused my entire life path, my spiritual journey, my soul's journey to get distracted and destroyed because they just chose to use me as food. Enough. That enough, if they have any level of respect, they'll stop. But if they don't stop, at that point, my dear, you're gonna have to start doing some sage, some bath salt. You're gonna need more crystals. These attached entities are just parasites. How do you get rid of worms from a cat's stomach? You poison the cat's stomach so that the parasites will die and the cat can shit them out. Sorry for my language, but that's what you'll have to do. You'll have to shit them out because they're not stopping. And everything outside of cancer, you know, in our world, the only thing that doesn't know how to stop is cancer. Everything knows how to rest. The sun sets, the moon rises, water transforms itself from liquid gas to solid. Everything has, you know. The only thing that just don't know how to fucking stop is cancer. So keep that in mind, all right? I'm sorry for the ranting. Just keep that in mind. We're gonna move on to the we talked about the colors, so we're gonna move on to the full moon. So now we're in the full moon in Virgo on a Saturday. Our previous new moon was on a Friday. This one is on a Saturday. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. There are no retrogrades going on at the moment. Saturn rules over our ability to be disciplined, our ability to follow rules. Saturn on our regular three-dimensional realm rules over the judicial system. It rules over the laws that are created. It rules over anti-deception is what I was trying to say, is what it rules over, which is why the colors of Saturn are always brown and black, the most serious colors in our color wheel. No one wears brown and black. No offense to Saturn, but those are two ugly colors to put together, you know? But that just kind of shows you how serious Saturn is. Saturn doesn't play. Saturn is telling you these are the rules, follow them, or this will happen, right? The problem with Saturn and Virgo and Mercury is the fact that on a normal balanced state, Virgo is the mother. You understand? Virgo is the mother. Virgo is the nurturer, right? On an imbalanced state, Virgo is the narcissistic bitch that birthed you, that even if you were dying, you couldn't even call her to get help from her. That's the dark side of Virgo. Okay? Now, when Virgo and Saturn come together, we have ourselves a fun time. Why? Because Saturn can see through you like the sun, the third eye of the Egyptian god. That's how far Saturn can see right through you. Now, here you are trying to lie, trying to manipulate, trying to con someone who can see through everything, right? The problem when I'll give you my situation when it comes to a mother in Virgo and a Saturn in Scorpio that lies in my moon sign. When I was a kid, I was not that sneaky. I did not know how to be sneaky. And furthermore, being sneaky wasn't on my mind, right? As I started to grow up and started to realize certain things, I realized the world ain't what you think it is, so you're gonna have to pull back a little bit, right? Now, as that's going on, I'm realizing, but I did not have the word for it yet. Narcissist. What is a narcissist? You're a mother, you have a daughter. I'm a mother, I have a daughter, right? Everything about my life and her life is about me. She stubbed her toe, oh, it's because I. She's sick, it's because I. She's that, it's because I. Like, everything about what's going on in y'all little bubble is about you, the mother, right? From that child's point of view, they're looking at you like, does my life even matter? Because it's like, no matter what I do, you make it about you, right? That's the definition of a narcissist. Now, when the narcissist cannot feed from the attention that they're getting because of your existence anymore, what they kind of do is, now they don't like you. You're not their favorite child anymore. You have a cousin or a brother or a sister or a relative in a ditch somewhere that's doing better than you. Now, the problem with a narcissistic Virgo is the fact that not every zodiac sign reacts to their narcissism the way that they want them to react to, you know? When I was a kid with my narcissistic parent, sometimes when my Scorpio and Saturn would kick in, my little Scorpio self would get so sad. She would cry. And I would just look like, why is she doing that? Is it that you don't know how to be a mother? Is it that you don't care to be a mother? You just want the limelight of being known as a mother? Like, what is it that caused you to do the things that you do? As you can hear in my voice, I'm not upset. I'm just speaking on this Saturn-Virgo relationship. It's a serious relationship. You can never tell a Virgo that you did this to me, because in their ideology, they're doing everything they can. And you know, 9 times out of 10, when it comes to raising a child like a little bull, everything you doing ain't it. I have 2 kids of my own, and I'm going to tell you, most kids only want love. Most kids only want love. Now, if you're a parent who don't know what love is, and you come from the the butthole of hell and you don't know what love is, and when the child tells you, I want love, you see that as the child is cursing you out, then that's different. Then I don't blame you. You understand? Because I have 2 little ones of my own, and everyone wants love. Even the devil itself wants fucking love. Demons fall in love. You understand? So the energy I read from this Virgo Saturn inner combination is literally, there's a lot of demons out there, but they're not the level that you want them to be on. You understand? There's a lot of parents out there that cause pain on their children that they were not supposed to cause on their children, which traces us back to that January reading where it was very off and just right? This reading right here is mother. The energy I got, the message I got was mother, 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 mother. This has everything to do with a mother, not the father, the mother. There's damage that was done to the child that came from the mother. And Saturn is here to remind and to help you repair yourself. It's not going to coddle you. Saturn is not the coddling type of masculine energy. It's not going to coddle you. What it's going to do is tell you you need to stop being a damn victim. This is getting boring and old. You're going to die being a victim. I'm bored of this victim game that you're playing with your victimizer. Until you start to open your eyes and you realize that all the stuff that's happening to you is being done to you because you accept it, then guess what? You're going to continue to go through that nonsense. That's the way that we need to speak to ourselves when we're trying to heal. If you don't do that, then guess what? You're going to be hurt. And that hurt, after a while, I'm going to tell you one thing about trauma and pain. It's going to create a monster inside of you that it's only going to love and want to experience that pain and suffering. I'm purging myself of my own monster. When I was a child, between the age of 6 and 13, I got traumatized and hurt so bad, and I'm speaking from experience, that a demon of me, the demon, was born. And she only liked the horrible crap that the people were doing to her. Spiritually, I used to fight with this entity. Like, what are you? It's not until I became an adult that I retracted my thoughts, my memories, my experiences, my emotional growth, that I realized there's literally 2 versions of you. There's the version that you keep to yourself. That version knows your pain, your suffering, your true memories. That version knows all the unbiased parts about you. And then there's the other side. That other side goes off into the world with a big smile on its face, the happiest thing you've ever seen in the world. And deep down inside, it's suffering, it's crying in silence, it's sad, it wants a fucking hug, it wants love, it's lonely. And as an adult, I had to pull back, and I'm like, oh my God, every relationship I have is falling apart because my 2 parts can't come together. And my 2 parts can't come together because guess what? That other side of me was created from a narcissistic parent. How do you communicate with your narcissistic child self if you can't communicate with the one who created the narcissistic child? Now this is important right here. This Virgo mother and Saturn father. Regardless if you were raised with a single mother, if you were raised with a single father, if you were raised in a double parent household, the relationship, the ongoing relationship that your mother and your father had with not each other, but with you, is very vital to your adulthood and your spiritual growth. If you don't understand that, you will never reach that potential that you're trying to reach. There's parts of ourselves that, if you are honest with yourself, that you simply hate. Like, I can't stand that part of me. Trace it back, and I can guarantee you'll find which parent it comes from. You'll find which parent it comes from. And most of them come from the parents, not your friends, not your close relatives. It's your parents that are creating these demons within you. So keep that in mind, all right? We're going to move to the color, and then the tarot, and then the crystals. So I've laid it out as best as I can. We have our Seven of Swords, which is reversed, and we have the aquamarine and the two colors that I was telling you Saturn represents, which is black and brown. Let's start with our zodiac. Simple key terms in reverse. The Seven of Swords means you, okay, you, the versions of us that we are, you have an imposter syndrome. You're practicing self-deceit and you're keeping secrets from yourself. So the whole part where I talked about the narcissistic mom and the narcissistic child and, the hurt child and all that, honest to God, I don't know where the hell that came from. Okay, I'm having a very open conversation right now. I don't know where that came from, but looking at the tarot cards, it makes sense, because nothing a hurt child does more than become a hurt adult that practices all types of deception. When the Seven of Swords is upright, you're practicing deception against others, or other people are attacking you, right? When the Seven of Swords is in reverse, what that's saying is pretty much you took in so much that the very thing that was being practiced against you, you went in yourself and practiced it against yourself. Now, the difference between someone who would not recognize, why am I doing this to myself, versus someone who realized I shouldn't be doing this, is the fact that the first person never comes to that realization that I should stop. The second person comes to that realization that they should stop. And now if you rewind back to the beginning of this video, where I talked about if you can't stop doing something, you're a Cancer, then you realize what you have created within yourself. Somewhere within yourself, you were hurting, right? There was no one to reach out to because there was no one to trust. So therefore, you took it upon yourself to try to protect and heal yourself. And as you try to do that, you still have to live your day to day. You ever had that experience as a child where you're sad, you cry, then you gotta wipe your tears and go face the adult world as if nothing's wrong? As adults, when we have done this long enough as adults, it gives them anxiety, depression, loneliness. They suffer from all kind of nonsense, right? When I was a child, I used to go through that where I would get so sad and cry. But the opposite of that is the fact that I'm a bull too. I'm not just a moon Scorpio. I'm a bull. I'm a sun bull. So I used to get mad. I used to cry. And then my fire would rise and I would get mad. And then I remember the little hurt Scorpio inside of me used to get scared. And used to be like, oh my God, are you going to hurt me like they've hurt me? And because I was in such a place, I would look at the Scorpio self in me and be like, you're going to become like them anyway. So what's the point of us communicating? And as an adult, that happened to me, the split between my sun and my moon. I've always had that experience where most people, they're either overexpressing one or underexpressing the other. For me, both energies express themselves equally. It's just in two realities, where if it's a serious situation, I'm calm, collected, trying to figure the situation out. That's the bull. The other side of me that I do my best to suppress is panicking, stressing out, trying to overcompensate and take my body to make me have some experience that I don't want to have, right? So what I do is I'm just like, you gotta calm down, self. Gosh, calm down. Dang. Excuse me. When I was in college, my moon in Scorpio being overruled by emotions and all this nonsense, it used to watch certain detriments on television and try to mimic it. And this is something that's been going on since I was a kid. Why am I saying this to you? Because if you're healing yourself, our emotions reflect that. Our childhood is tied to our spirituality. You understand? So many things that have been done to us as children is why we can't reach a space as adults. You understand? So having that recollection, understanding that about myself, and knowing, not split personality, but split energies. I'm not a split personality. I'm one person that operates from two different energetic spaces. Like I've said before, Bull operates from a space of love, which is what makes Bull patient or angry. Scorpio operates from a space of sensuality and creativity, which is what makes Scorpio seems a little crazy sometimes, A lot of the times when people think about Scorpio, they always think about sex, and it's not. Scorpio operates from a space of sensuality and creativity, which is why possibly as a child I crave love so much. Because the bull in me could be alone. Like the bull in me is like, I don't need people around me. But then every now and then there's this little creepy energy that comes around. I'm so lonely. And it's like, ugh, why do I feel like this? So that could be the reason for wanting all that clingy love. I need you to love me now. Because once I became a teenager, it was just like, well, I've accepted all of you for who you are. I'm making my life plan so I can move on. You understand? So the connection is real. The connection is real. You have stern Saturn telling you, man up, man, woman up. You're thick in your skin. Good God. I'm crying over spilled milk. It's spoiled now. Then you have the Seven of Swords that's telling you, on some real deal, you kind of use all that crap that happened to you to victimize yourself even more. Like you might want to grow up, forgive yourself, and move on. And I give you this aquamarine stone, which is a stone of clearing your throat chakra and clearing your third eye. You understand? You got to do the work. It's not just about, oh my God, this happened to me. You got to do the work. And if you don't do the work, then it's a continual pattern of, and those things get so old after a while. Like even in my personal life, when I speak to certain family members, I'll find myself talking about something from the past, and the bull in me is just bored of that conversation. Like, y'all still talking about this? Good God, like get over it. And then the other side of me is like, I'm so still hurt. And it's just like, dude, you need to get over this. This is like so stupid at this point, There's good, there's bad, there's fun, there's light, there's dark in the spiritual journey of ours, in the spiritual healing process. But at the end of the day, it's all about understanding that at one point, somebody hurt me. And I don't want this person to have that level of access to me anymore. So I'm going to shut that part of me down and function from that high place that I know I come from. And then we're going to keep this life going. So focus, alright? The end of the month, the focus should be, we're about to go into March. This month we've worked on the third eye and the fifth chakra. We worked with 2 blue stones. Blue is the color of balance, serenity, peace, healing. We've worked with that. We literally have worked with Father Saturn for the past 2 months now. From January till February, we've been working with Saturn. And if you understand anything about Saturn, you know he's about to reward you. Whatever Saturn sent you in this world to do, and if you did it or if you didn't do it, you got to get your reward. But with all that being said, remember and always remember, your spiritual path is personal. You'll hear people like myself, other individuals tell you their stories, read cards to you, tell you about stones. But at the end of the day, it's about you. It's what you're willing to bring to the table for yourself. I wish you guys the best, alright? We're about to start heading into March. It's about to be spring. Hopefully there's some Aries in the readings. We'll see what happens. See you guys next month.